Hey guys, it's Jamie Scrimgeour here, second wife, stepmom of 3, and mom of 1. And you're listening to my podcast, where we talk about all things motherhood, stepmotherhood, and living a kick-ass life. If you're ready for raw and real conversations and are striving to live your very best life, then you are in the right place. Every week, I'll provide you with tips and strategies and mindset shifts to inspire you to live your own version of a kick-ass life, while bringing you along as I create my own. All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. So today is, pretty exciting for me, actually. We are doing something different. I've never actually done this before. I have Kristen from Stepmomming here. Kristen, say hello.
Hi.
So Kristen is actually going to interview me today. So before we dive into the interview, or Kristen dives into the interview, for those of you who aren't familiar, chances are if you're a stepmom and you're on the internet, you know who Kristen is. But in the event that you have been living under a rock and don't, Kristen, why don't you kind of give us a little introduction? Who are you? What are you all about? What do you got going on?
I'm really excited to be here. I run stepmomming.com. It's an online platform that has a blog and a free Facebook group and a shop with online printables and stuff that's completely dedicated to giving support to the overwhelmed stepmom. And we believe that stepmomming is what you do and it's not who you are. So we're trying to refocus the energy from this all-consuming role to here's how you do this role efficiently, successfully, and then you still have a life outside of being a stepmom.
Yeah. And I love that you talk about how it's so overwhelming and consuming, because I think that a lot of stepmoms, we dive right in, we're going to save the day, we're going to, it really does consume your life. And then you get to a point where you are overwhelmed and you're feeling resentful. And if you don't have the tools, and people don't talk about step parenting, like people don't talk about all of the struggles that we go through. So I think that your platform is so good for that. And I love that it is dedicated to stepmoms. So what I'm going to have people do, if you missed the first episode that Kristen and I did together, I'm going to link it in the show notes because Kristen has been on the podcast before. And it's such a great episode and it shares a little bit more about Kristen, what she's all about. So definitely check that out. But we're going to switch gears for this one. And Kristen is going to interview me.
I'm so excited. When you were like, can we do this? I was all about it because you're always the one asking the questions. And sometimes you'll do your solo episodes or whatever. But like for me to be able to ask what everybody else wants to know, it's just such an honor. I'm excited.
Yes. Well, thank you. I'm excited to do this with you. So Kristen, you are now the host.
Okay, let's go. One of my very favorite lessons that you teach stepmoms is the 5-5-5 rule. So can you share with us what that is and how we can implement it in our stepmom lives?
Yeah. And, I can't take credit for the 5-5-5 rule. I don't know who came up with it, but I do know when I first started my platform, I ran a program called the Kick-Ass Stepmom Project. And it started so small. There were, I think, 8 stepmoms, and we would get together every Wednesday on a call. And I kind of coached them through a lot of the struggles that stepmoms go through. But one of the girls who was in this group, who's actually become a good friend, she taught me about the 5-5-5 rule. And I've literally been shouting off the rooftops about it ever since, because it really... it really changed my perspective on things, because ask my husband at the very beginning, I was really good at sweating the small stuff. Like there was a lot of things that I would get my panties in a bunch about that don't matter, doesn't matter at all. So the 5-5-5 rule is, before you really think about, something stressing you out, or before you react, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 minutes? Will this matter in 5 days? Will this matter in 5 years? And it really puts a lot of things into perspective. We spend a lot of time, especially as stepmoms, worrying about shit that just doesn't matter in the long run. And it's really easy to get nitpicky over things. And I think it's just so important to play the long game and think about down the road, like, is this actually going to matter? And honestly, for me, I'm not going to say I don't sweat the small stuff still. I'm not going to sit here and be
Right.
like, oh, I've always practiced this rule and now I'm just so calm, cool, and collected. No, not all the time. But I do come back to this rule on a regular basis because it's just helped me keep some perspective. So I think it's important for stepmoms to just ask themselves, like, does this actually really matter?
So I love the rule and I love everything you just said, but I want to hone in on one part of what you just said, which is I still come back to this rule all the time. And I think it's important for anybody who's listening to know that you don't reach this level of perfection or peace and you live there. Like there's no attaining the perfect stepmom life and staying there. So it's really encouraging to hear you say, well, I still sweat the small stuff. I still come back to this and have to remind myself of this.
Yeah. Even yesterday, I talk about things that don't actually matter and that are really age appropriate. And, I used to spend a lot of time harping on the kids about, say, keeping their room clean and the dishes and all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's important and you have to teach kids responsibility and rules and all the things, 100%. However, kids are kids and every single parent is constantly asking their kids to do the same thing over and over again. So, for me at the very beginning, I wasn't flexible at all on this. My husband says I was a bit of a drill sergeant. And now, I don't, I absolutely stress the importance of it and I will give reminders, but it's not going to wreck the day. It's not going to wreck the vibe in the house. But yesterday, for instance, I was really stressed, really overwhelmed, have a lot going on right now. And I opened the door to my stepson's room and his room was trashed. And we had literally just talked about it the day before. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, really? And I did send him a text message. It was like, hey, buddy, like, we've got to get on this. And I was sweating the small stuff in that moment. And it's a really good example of how when you're not at your best, the little things that maybe aren't that big of a deal stress you out more than they should. So it was a really good reminder that you do still get overwhelmed and it's not like you're living in this kumbaya world, but that you need to make sure you're taking care of yourself too.
Absolutely. So another thing that I hear you say a lot is as a stepmom, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And I know that so many of your listeners can relate. How do you navigate this role despite that truth?
Yeah. I think I've really just got to the point I actually don't give a shit about what a lot of people think of me. I've really done a lot of work over the last few years to get to this point. And I spent a lot of time worrying about what people thought about me as a stepmom and making sure that everyone thought we had it all together and that, I wasn't overstepping or I was doing things right. And here's the thing. When you're a stepmom, there's going to be people who think you're too involved and that you're overstepping. And then if you don't get involved, then it's like you're not taking it seriously enough. And there's so many different opinions on what role a stepmom should play that you really just have to do what works for you and what feels right for you and your family and your stepkids and, the ex-wife that you're dealing with. And there's so many different factors to consider, but other people's opinions should not be in that, right? Like it's about what works for you and your crew. And that's what it always comes back to for me. Like I know there are people who who maybe don't agree with the way that I do things, and that's fine. I don't care, right? There are a lot of things that I don't agree with that other people do, but we all have our own values and perspectives in our own life. And that's the thing. You get to do your life. I get to do mine. And I think it's important for stepmoms. I think at the very beginning, we just get really worried about how we're being perceived. And that's because of the stigma that comes with being a stepmom. But as time goes on, it's so important to just, you do you, what feels right, follow your gut, talk to your husband and just focus on what really matters because someone's going to think you're doing something wrong no matter what.
Right. Well, and in the beginning, you're so focused on what everybody else is saying. And I think that drives our need to be the perfect stepmom and the perfect wife or girlfriend at the time. And that's why there's so much pressure on us. And we get so overwhelmed and often lose our entire identities.
Yeah. And as women, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to begin with, right? Yesterday, it's not related to step parenting, but yesterday I had a breakdown to my husband because I was feeling so overwhelmed with my business and with parenting. And the kids have been on strike because the teachers are striking here in Ontario. And there was all of this stuff. And I just in the middle of the afternoon, kind of just like started crying in his arms. And, he said to me, he's like, you have put so much pressure on yourself. Like the goals you have set and the standards you've set for yourself are so high that you need to chill out. And I think that as women, we do that. We really, really do that to ourselves. And then you compound the pressures of being a stepmom on that. And it's just a lot.
We do. And I think it takes someone giving us permission, like Darren did, and just saying, hey, it's okay to not be all the things today. And so for anybody who's listening who needs the permission, Jamie and I give you permission to let some stuff go and to not be perfect.
Yeah, because you can't do it all the time, right? Something has to give at some point. And I think that's also why a lot of stepmoms find those early years so stressful, because you are trying to prove that you can do it all, because there's this misconception that you have to do it all, and you don't. Like if you don't have groceries and you guys need to get McDonald's for dinner, you're not a shitty stepmom. If your stepkids aren't perfectly dressed and they don't have, a clean room and their bed made, who gives a shit? It doesn't actually matter, right? Or you cried last night about how stressful it is dealing with lawyers and your husband's ex-wife. It's okay. You're a human being, right? And it's really about, okay, how can I do this better next time? And trying to improve, but give yourself permission, because the pressure is just insane.
It's so true. So we touched on this a little bit in our last podcast interview, but one place where our experiences don't align, we have so many things that we agree on, but one place where our experiences don't align is that I'm still a childless stepmom, but you have Reese, your own sweet girl. So how has becoming a mom changed how you step parent? And is there anything that you'd go back and tell your childless stepmom self, knowing what you know now?
Yeah. Oh man, this is a thing right now, to be quite honest, because I have said this before and I've got a lot of backlash from stepmoms over this. This is probably the one thing that triggers people. And I kind of want to say before I dive into it, I am not saying this to offend anyone. I am not saying I understand anyone's experience. I'm just speaking from my own experience. And that's what this whole platform is really about for me. But when I became a mom, there were things that all of a sudden I saw a lot differently than I did before. And there were people who said to me, well, you won't understand until you're a mom, or you won't understand, you don't understand because you don't have your own kids. And I wanted to punch them square in the face when they said that. Honestly, I wanted to knock the ladies out. And then I had Reese, and honestly, I started to realize that there was some truth to what they were saying. I do believe that there are some things you cannot understand about motherhood unless you're a mom. But on that same note, there are some things that you can understand about stepmotherhood unless you're actually a stepmom, or, in life. Like you can only understand things that you've actually been through. You can be empathetic, and that's a whole other story. But for me, it did actually change my perspective on a lot of things. So, my empathy for the kid's mom really changed. I realized how difficult it would be to have another woman caring for your kid, and how much I would struggle with that. My empathy for my husband changed. There were things that I just didn't fully understand. Like I remember, there was a situation where I just didn't fully understand how much he missed the kids when they were gone. I missed them wholeheartedly, for sure. I also really liked my alone time with my husband, and he still struggled being without them. I couldn't fully understand that until I was a mom. That's not to say a stepmom can't understand that, or a stepmom can't fully, feel bad for their husband or relate to it. I'm not saying that that's someone else's experience, but for me, that was my experience. And, I think the one thing, if I could go back and tell my early stepmom self, just like slow your judge. I really, again, came in and was trying to be perfect and have everything together, and to, make sure I was that perfect mom. And then when my, stepkid's mom wasn't being that perfect mom, I would judge her, right? But then I
Right.
realized parenting's friggin' hard and we're all screwing up all the time. And I think that was maybe it's not that I had Reese that made me realize that, or I think it's just experience and giving myself a little grace and realizing how hard motherhood is and kind of letting my guard down. I don't know. It you don't know what you don't know, right? And life just teaches you lessons as you experience them though. So, maybe it was the time in my life, or maybe it was having Reese, but there's that. And I guess the other thing would be just to not sweat the small stuff, right? And just kind of rules and structure and routine are really important. Like I used to be the bedtime stickler.
Me too.
And then I have Reese, and Reese's routine is shit. Like I have to tell you, I have a very she doesn't have a great routine, right? And I'm a lot more flexible with her than I ever was with my stepkids. And I think they really kind of taught me the ropes about parenting and what matters and what doesn't. So yeah, everything's really changed as I've evolved and experienced things. And Reese coming along really did, change my perspective on on what matters.
Yeah. You talked about slow your judge, and I have been just really pondering this idea for, I don't know, a few months now. And I've almost written a blog post several times, and I kind of want to explore this idea with you. So, the whole premise is why the bio mom has so many shortcomings. And it's not because they're flawed, it's because they're human. And we're all failing somewhere. You've kind of alluded to this a couple times. And so if you stop and you get the kids McDonald's because you're running late, well, if the bio mom does that, then you're like, well, why is she feeding them trash?
Why doesn't she meal plan?
Exactly. So when you're looking for those shortcomings, either because you're insecure or because you see like we're raising the same kid, we should be able to do the same things. And when you're looking for those shortcomings, they're going to be apparent to you. So if you can slow your judge, that's going to just go so far for your dynamic with all of the parents, but also be like your peace of mind. You're not going to be sweating the small stuff. You're not going to be focused on everything that's going wrong.
Yeah, and for sure. And I think I think I did a post on my exclusive stepmom community Instagram page the other day, and it was saying, talking shit about your husband's ex or your stepkid's mom does not make you a better parent. There was a time where I would be like, well, why don't they have new snow pants? Like it just snowed. Or where are the mitts? Like, how do you lose all the mitts? And then, I have Reese and I'm like, where are all the goddamn mitts? Right? Like all of a sudden I'm there and realizing like, oh yeah, moms have a lot of things to do. So do stepmoms. And we all forget things. And we're all just kind of like scrambling to do the best we can and look after all these little people. But it's really easy to judge when you're on the outside and you don't know what someone's going through or what their priorities were or what their intentions were. And sometimes I think we're on the outside, right? We don't know what that day looked like. Or, say the kids forgot their snow pants when they're coming to like mom's house or say coming to dad's house. I would be like, why wouldn't you bring them? Why wouldn't you pack them? Why didn't you prepare? Like, why is this an issue? It's like, well, she probably asked the kids 25 times and thought they probably put them in the bag, right? So we're only getting a certain part of the story too. And I think it's important to realize that.
Yeah, absolutely. So a key part of your message, your mission, is to help stepmoms and moms live a kick-ass life. So with the understanding that we're all going to have kind of a different definition, what does living a kick-ass life mean for Jamie?
Yeah. Well, I obviously have my own goals and things that I've set for myself. But when I think about what that actually means, it's like thriving amongst the bullshit. Stop blaming other people for your life. Like you are in control of your life. So one of the quotes that I always, talk about is like sitting around bitching about how hard being a stepmom is will not make it any easier. So what are you going to do in your life to cope better, to thrive amongst the bullshit. Like that's on you, right? So like
Mhm.
for me, living a kick-ass life is just being deliberate about your life and checking in with yourself and saying, hey, am I showing up as the best stepmom I can be, or the best wife, or how am I contributing to the problems? What can I do better? And just striving to be better. I'm big on not being complacent in life. Like, don't just sit still. Like, I think that growing is so important. And for
Mhm.
me, it's just, yeah, taking ownership of your life and being deliberate about it, and stop blaming other people for where you're at. Like, you have a choice, right? Like, you can bask in the bullshit or you can rise above it.
Absolutely. And it's easy to bask in the bullshit. I mean, frankly, there's so much of it when you're looking for it, but you have to make that conscious choice and that effort to rise above, or else you're just going to be unhappy all the time.
Yeah. And that's on you, right?
Yeah,
Because that's your life. You want to sit around, you want to complain and blame everyone else and look for conflict, go for it. But that's going to be a pretty shitty existence in my mind.
absolutely. So, if you want to rise above, you
Mm.
have an incredible tool for it. I want to switch gears and I want to talk about the exclusive stepmom community. So, for anyone who doesn't know what it is, can you share what it is, where the idea came from, all of those things?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't even know where to start. So since I started my blog, I would write about raw and real things, but there was also things that I didn't want to write about on the internet because it's the internet, and my story maybe isn't the same story as, someone else in my family or in my, in my life, the players in our game. And so I've always tried to be very respectful and, and tread lightly on it. So there was that piece. I just felt like I struggled to write things on the internet and to engage and to build this community. It was always kind of holding me back. And I know that other stepmoms were too, because I would write my blog posts and I would have very few comments on the post, but my inbox would blow up because stepmoms would say, hey, I want to communicate. I want to, comment on your post. I want to engage in these online communities, but it's on Facebook and it is showing up on my mother-in-law's newsfeed, or so-and-so's in the Facebook group and she just screenshot it to the ex and now it's in the court documents. And,
Yeah.
social media is not a safe place. Social media is a public place and you can put all of the privacy restrictions on your account that you want. You do not know who is seeing your stuff, and the internet is forever. So I was getting comments like that over and over again. So I personally was craving a place where we could go and have next level conversations and next level support. And I know that everyone else was craving that too. So that's why I decided to create this community where we could have those next level conversations, where there's exclusive content and interviews for people who are, ready to live a kick-ass life, who are looking to change, who are, not wanting to sit around and bitch like some of the Facebook groups kind of tend to be like. And take it to the next level. So off social media, a private space where nothing's linked back to you. So it was just about kind of taking it to the next level and off social media. So that's what the exclusive stepmom community is. There's exclusive content. There's a private forum, so like a Facebook group off of Facebook. There's just a lot of great resources for stepmoms that it's a place where they can go when they need support.
I love it. I've been hanging out there for a little while now, and I truly love it. I think it's a fabulous resource. Who do you think that the community is good for?
I think it's good for anyone who is just looking for tips on how to do things better and just wants that privacy, doesn't want to engage in the Facebook group, who also doesn't want, when you join a lot of stepmom Facebook groups online, or if you're, following a lot of stepmom bloggers online, it's great. And hey, I'm a stepmom blogger, like follow me, I love it. But when you log on to social media, your news feed is full of stepmom stuff, which can be great. But if you're in a really great place, you are bombarded by everyone else's problems and the negativity. And when you're surrounding yourself in that negativity, you're surrounding yourself in problems, chances are you're going to find more problems in your own life, right? So I really wanted to create a space for people who are looking for support that's there when they need it, but don't feel like they need to be consuming it every single day.
Absolutely. I love it. I I think it's so great because it has that privacy aspect.
Hmm.
And I even feel safer in this space. And you're so right. I mean, our stepkids can see our blogs and our Instagram, and so can the ex and the ex's family. And I mean, even from time to from time to time, I have some of her family members who will like my Instagram posts or whatever, and I like kind of freak out a little bit, and I like reread it. I'm like, is there anything in here that could be misconstrued, or making sure we're true to their stories too? But
Yeah.
in this space, nobody else can see it, and I can be sure that I'm being truthful to my side of the story and
Yeah.
comfort.
And there's this double standard, right? Moms are encouraged to keep it real and talk about the struggles of motherhood and, motherhood's hard and all of those kind of things. And stepmoms are not. A mom could write after a long holiday with their kids. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for these kids to get back to school. I need my own time. If a stepmom wrote that on the internet, like all hell would break loose. Like, do you know how many people would be screenshotting that to their friends? Being like, oh my gosh, can you believe she said that about her stepkids? Like, what did she expect? Well,
Yeah.
we expect that motherhood and stepmotherhood and having kids around can be hard and stressful, and sometimes you need a break. But for some reason, this community and this raw and realness is encouraged for moms, but it's not for stepmoms. And still, even though we've come such a long way since I first started my platform, there is still a huge double standard.
Yep. Absolutely. It's, I mean, I just see it every day.
Yeah.
Whether it's on social media or it's at the school party. And it's like you can be involved, but don't be too involved. And then if you're not there, what's going on? Are you not supporting? Do you not love your stepkids? It's just unreal
Yeah, it's
how
like little
it's,
Johnny's stepmom's never at hockey. Why? Well, it's like, well, she probably has other kids or things she needs to do. Like it's not intentional. Like everyone just needs to kind of chill and stop the judging.
well, and it's like also maybe it's a high conflict situation and it's not worth it to her for her peace to attend the hockey practice or even the hockey game if it means that she's going to be in an anxious state for 3 days afterward. So,
Or uncomfortable for her stepchild.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we
We're
could go
the
on.
same.
That's like a whole topic for a different day. But yeah, the double standard, it's a thing. It truly is a thing. So I wanted to create this community where stepmoms can have that raw and real conversation and be transparent and seek out support. And I want to be clear, this is not a space that you can just come and it's negative and it's bitchy. I have never been about that and I never will. I don't tolerate that in my Facebook groups. I don't tolerate it anywhere. This is a place where people can go and say, hey, this is really hard. I'm struggling. How do I do this better? Anyone have any tips and strategies? Like, you know?
And I think that's a key difference that we haven't talked about before, because if you go in a Facebook group and somebody says, this issue is wearing me out, I'm exhausted, I'm frustrated, somebody help me. You're going to get a ton of comments in that free group that says, I can't believe she did that. What a witch. But
Mm-hmm.
in the community, the conversation is completely different. Even if somebody in the story is acting like a witch, the feedback that I'm seeing is, I'm so sorry that you're dealing with that, and I'm sending you a ton of good vibes. Here's my advice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different tone.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it. And you have a section where you can ask me anything. So if you want my advice on something, I hang out in the Ask Jamie section. Like now, we're going to dive into this, I'm sure, but there are contributors. So there's a spot where you can answer questions if people think that's something that you can really resonate with. And every month I have experts come in, marriage therapists, like lawyers. We have lots of different experts who are providing real life solution focused support on how to live a kick-ass life amongst these challenges.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue. So you did just announce that you're adding contributors. So it's me from Stepmomming, Beth from Babbling Blonde, and Laura from Millennial Stepmom. What made you make the decision to add other experts to the community?
Well, I think that, there's no one size fits all approach to stepmom life. And there are things that I do that might not work for people who follow me. Or there's things that, you do that I may not agree with, but, really resonate with you and a bunch of other stepmoms. So, And again, it goes back to what we were talking about, like the childless stepmom piece. There are people who get really upset when I say there are things that changed for me when I had my own daughter, especially those who cannot have their own kids or who are dealing with fertility issues, or maybe their husband had a vasectomy or he doesn't want any kids. Like, there's a huge variety of situations. So I wanted to bring other stepmoms in who have a different perspective and who have different experiences. And, eventually I will bring in more stepmoms who have, a different experience than even we do, because we are all ones who we didn't bring kids into the marriage. So, that's still lacking in the community right now. But I wanted to just provide a well-rounded approach and just, again, a place where stepmoms can go and seek out support with people who get it.
Yeah. There truly is so much value from the different perspectives that you're bringing in, but then also just the features within this community. And I kind of want to dive into each of those parts, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. Love talking about it.
So the forum, this is easily my favorite part, between from the privacy to the organization, the specific Ask Jamie, Ask Kristen sections that you talked about. For anyone who's not already in the community, can you paint a picture for them of what the forum looks like and how it functions?
Yeah. So the forum is similar to a Facebook group, but think Facebook group off Facebook. So it's not linked to social media. One, you can change your name. So if you don't feel comfortable with your full name being up there, that's cool. You can change it to whatever you want. People have code names. People have different names. People have changed it to whatever. So it's private. So no one can click on, your profile and go get all of your information about life. So there's that. The other piece is that it's organized in that you can go to different sections if you have a different need. So if you're dealing with a high conflict ex, or if you're struggling with setting boundaries, or if you are dealing with infertility issues, or, if you're dealing with LGBTQ issues, like there's all different sections on there. So it's super organized in that way. So you're not just kind of putting your comment out into like the big bad internet. You go to the place where you feel you'll get the most benefit from, if that makes sense. So there's also, the Ask Jamie section is where I hang out. So it's also a place where I get emails all the time from stepmoms asking for my advice and for my support. And this is where I go. So this is where I provide that support. So you really can go with a problem and know that you're going there and know where you're going to find that solution.
Yep. I lose emails, I lose DMs, like people try to contact us on all these different channels and ask for our advice. But at least twice a day, I'm going into the community and refreshing my Ask Kristen section to make sure that I can specifically find all those questions there.
Yeah. And what I think, there's also a general category. So if you're like, hey, shit's really hitting the fan, like I could go in all of these categories right now. There is, you just put it in the general category, and you can also tag people. So if you want to put a, say, question in a certain section, it's not the Ask Jamie section, but you want me to chime in, just tag me and, I get the notification and I can go deal with it there.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. So that's
and there's also an app. I forgot to say there's an app. So you can access it now on your phone, which is a new feature, which is super exciting too, because, we all don't want to sit around on our computer and log into the desktop. So if you're feeling like you need support on the go, you can also access everything through the app.
The app is amazing. Anybody who signs up through me, I send them a message and I'm like, hey, here's how to get in. Here's how to download the app. That should be your first step.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay, so the forum is fabulous. I love it. Facebook group off Facebook. But then we have the monthly live Q&A. And you've shared that this is some of the stepmoms' favorite part. So what does this look like?
Yeah, so basically the third Wednesday of every month, we get together. Most of the time it's at night. We have a glass of wine. It's like a virtual girls' night, and we log on to a call, and people can come. If they can make it live, that's cool. If not, it's recorded, and also recorded through a podcast version now too. But people submit their questions and I answer them, and we just they can connect in the chat bar. So many real life friendships have developed from these live calls that I think it's so amazing. Like I've seen stepmoms meet up and share their posts on social media, and they met through these live Wine Wednesdays. So it's just a really good place for us to connect. And now with the contributors, like this month, you are going to be in the live call with me. So we're both going to answer the questions and, have a glass of wine and just, it's like a virtual stepmom girls' night.
Love it. I love girls' night. And I love that we can all just chat, because I think the community side of this, not to use the same word, but having other people who get it, that's half the battle.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And, I've had stepmoms say, my husband knows tonight's the call, and he's like, you need to get on that call because you need it.
Another key part of this is that all three of the other contributors, so me, Laura, and Beth, we provide a piece of content every single month that you can't find on our blogs, you can't find on our social. It is only in the community. But you also do a video every single month. And it's either an interview with another expert, or it's just you hopping on, or you and Darren. How is this different from what we're finding on your podcast and your blog?
Well, I talk about things I would never, ever talk about on the internet. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I am raw. I am real. I say things that most people won't. But again, the internet is the internet, and I have a lot of people I need to respect. So I will definitely kind of take it to the next level in the community. So if I'm really struggling, you're going to know, and I'm going to share what we're going through. So Darren and I have done exclusive podcast episodes where we would answer questions that we would never answer elsewhere, right? So it's just taking these conversations to the next level. I would say it's a little more unfiltered. And then when it comes to interviewing these experts, these are therapists, there's lawyers, there's, next level tried and true tips from experts in this space who can help you navigate this and take it to the next level. So again, it's just next level conversations.
Yeah. And I mentioned earlier that I love when you tell us that you're in the trenches and that you get real in this community. And one of the ways that you get real with us is with your weekly check-in.
Yes.
This is unfiltered Jamie, and I am here for it. I love it. Talk to me about the check-ins. What are they? How did they start? They're amazing. I love it.
Oh, well, honestly, one day I was just all riled up, and I was like, you know what? I got to share this with the community. And I was like, how am I going to do that? I want to edit a video and do the whole thing. Because I think what people don't understand is creating content takes time. So I just picked up my phone and just kind of went off and shared what was going on, shared how I was feeling, how I was navigating it, and uploaded it. And I was like, you know what? This is a thing. So now every week I've decided to raw, unedited, in the moment, share what we're going through, what I'm going through. Sometimes it's a win. Other times it is something that just shit just hit the fan. Here's what we're struggling with, or what my husband did that really grinded my gears. And so I share what we're going through, but also kind of how I navigated my way through it. So it's just, off the cuff weekly check-ins about what's going on in our step family life. Because I fear that people, and I never want to come across this way, but I know it does. They think we have it all together, or that I have it all together. Mm-hmm. And I just don't. I almost laugh every time someone says that to me, because I'm like, it is such a shit show over here sometimes. And so I think it's just a better way for me to connect with this community and show everyone we're all in the trenches and we're all dealing with things. But as you deal with things over and over and over again, you get better at it.
Yep. Seriously, so much value in this community, from the forum to the monthly live Q&A to the exclusive content, the weekly check-ins. I mean, this is unreal. How in the world is it only $5.99 a month? It really does seem too good to be true.
Well, yeah. And here's the thing. I have gotten some feedback from other people in this online space about how cheap this is, and questioning whether I know the value of it, or whether I know my value and why I would provide it so cheap. I don't want anyone to break the bank, because being a stepmom is so hard. I just really wanted to create a place that people can go. So it's almost like they just have this space that If they're not in it every month, it's fine. It's less than 20 cents a day, but they have a place where they can go seek out support when they are struggling. So when things are good, I don't want you to feel like you need to be in the community all the time, but I want you to find a place where you can go and binge all these videos and binge all of this content and get advice from experts when you need it. And then the other piece with the community is you get a 20% discount on like coaching calls or any next level support that I already provide. So it really does pay itself back. I just didn't want it to be, I didn't want to break the bank, right? Like, but obviously there needs to be some sort of cost involved because there's a cost for me and the time and all of that kind of stuff. But so that's kind of why I'm rambling on that, but it doesn't need to be super expensive. I just want to have this place that I can be there and support stepmoms and give you the privacy that you're looking for and the support that you need so that, we can all just get better.
Yeah. So the number one question that I've gotten as I've started talking about the community is, well, how is this different from a Facebook group? Aside from the fact that it's not free and it's not on Facebook, what are the key differences?
Well, it's private. Like we keep saying, you get content, you get discounts. And hey, I'm not in my Facebook group all the time. I don't know about you. Facebook groups kind of stress me out a little bit because they get a little crazy in there. And so that's where I'm at. So if you're looking for support from me, that I'm going to be in the community. I'm going to be providing support to the people who, are really dedicated to improving things. So it's just the next level piece. If you're in your Facebook group right now and you're like, I love my Facebook group and I love my life and I'm doing great, don't join the community. It's not for you. But it is for the stepmom whose mother-in-law just saw their post on Facebook, or who just saw that their husband's ex is in the Facebook group, or who wants to hear what a marriage therapist has to say. Like we just did a kick-ass interview with Mary T. Kelly, and she is a marriage and relationship psychotherapist. And oh my gosh, like it changed my perspective on marriage. And I have done so much work to get to where I'm at. So it's just next level.
Yeah. And I think there's a place for both. A lot of people have asked me this. They're like, you have a big Facebook group. Why would you be promoting something outside of it? And I think there's a place for both. If you've got, like, you want to announce that you're pregnant and how do I tell my stepkids? Go to the Facebook group that has 13,000 people and say, hey guys, so excited, but I'm worried about how my stepkids are going to take it. How did you announce it? And get feedback from 50 people in 10 minutes, and then you're good. If you have something that you can't post on Facebook and you're just really struggling with something so personal, go to the community. You can post it there. It's a safe place. It's a private place. And you know that you're not going to be responded to with judgment or any sort of critical response.
Mm-hmm. And, people who pay attention. That's a fact. So you get a lot of trolls in the Facebook group. You get a lot of people who, I'm going to be completely honest, there are people in the Facebook groups, stepmoms, who all they're doing is judging and causing conflict in those groups. And I'm like, no wonder you're struggling in your step family life. Like you're a bit of a nightmare to deal with right now. Like I can't even imagine how hard it is to co-parent with you when you're being so high conflict. That's the truth. There are a lot of people on Facebook and social media who are sitting at their computer waiting to cause problems. They're trolls. And you don't get that kind of stuff in a private online space, right? If you in this community, that's not tolerated. It's monitored. And like I said, people who pay attention. So you're going to find yourself in a space where you can connect with people who are so passionate and dedicated about up-leveling their life that you're going to benefit from their desire too. So it's just a different place.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's never going to be perfect. You're never going to get to a point where you don't have any step family stressors or nothing comes up. The key is understanding that the more work you do on yourself and your reactions and your boundaries and who you surround yourself with and all of the things we talk about it in the community and I talk about it in my ebook and all of that kind of stuff. And, you talk about it too, Kristen. The more you do that, the quicker you bounce back. So, there was a time when I literally would feel like I had been punched in the gut and my hands would shake. I was on the floor crying. I would be so overwhelmed all the time. the same things that triggered me to get to that place happen in my life still on a regular. They don't affect me like they used to. And my husband and I talk about that in our podcast episodes too. You just get better at it. But in order to get better at it, you have to commit to doing the work yourself. And that's really just what my platform's all about. I just want to inspire women to do that work. So, they're not derailed by the bullshit and they can still live a good life amongst, even if they have the highest conflict situation. Like stepmoms will say to me, no, you don't understand how high conflict it is. You don't understand how stressful. Girl, I get it. Yeah. You still got to take control of your own life, right? Like that's on you. So that's my message and what I'm all about. And yeah, it's exciting to see this community grow because there's just a lot of phenomenal women in it. So I'm really grateful for everyone who has taken a chance on it, and now we're all helping each other out.
Yeah, it's an incredible resource. I have nothing but good things to say about it. I appreciate everything you do for all of us, from the blog to the podcast to the community. It's such a tremendous resource, and I'm excited and honored to be on this journey alongside you.
Well, I am excited to have you. It's only going to get better. Someone just actually messaged me and said, I would join this community at the very beginning and gets better and better every month. And I'm like, yes, that is what this is all about. So I'm excited to see what you bring to it.
Thanks.
All right. So is that the end of our podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for interviewing me. This was awesome. All right. So we're going to link Kristen's links, everything about Kristen's stepmomming, the link for the exclusive community, all of those things in the show notes. So if you're interested, check it out. If you have any questions for us, be sure to send them our way. But yeah, I guess like the moral of the story is like own your shit and do the work, right? Yeah. Awesome. All right. We will chat with you in the next episode. Okay, guys, if you like this podcast, please do me a little favor. Take a second and subscribe on iTunes, and then screenshot this podcast, give it a share in social media, and tell your friends what you think. And hey, don't forget to tag me so that I can thank you for helping me spread the word. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you next week.